Imagine you're walking down the cheese aisle in your local supermarket. Everything looks innocent. Soft bries, golden cheddars, perfectly sliced blocks stacked like edible art. But what if I told you some of those cheeses could be silently damaging your heart, weakening your bones, and even speeding up memory decline? Sounds dramatic, right? But for those of us over 60, it's not drama, it's science. In today's video, I'll show you the 4 cheeses you absolutely should be eating daily to support strong bones, a sharp mind, and healthy aging, and 4 you should never touch again. And here's the kicker. The worst cheese on this list? It could raise your stroke risk by 80%, and you've probably eaten it this week. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We post new senior health tips every week that could make a real difference in your life. And if you find this video helpful, share it with a friend or loved one over 60. It could literally help them live longer. Now, back to the cheese. If you're eating the wrong kinds, you could be cutting years off your life without even knowing it. But with a few simple changes, you can transform every bite into something that nourishes your body, boosts your immunity, and protects your heart and brain. Stick around to the end. I'll be sharing real-life stories and lessons that might just change the way you eat cheese forever. Part 1. Why this matters after age 60. Once we cross the age of 60, our bodies begin to change in ways we often don't notice right away. Digestion slows down, bones lose density, muscles weaken, and heart health becomes more fragile. Even our gut, often called the second brain, starts to shift, affecting everything from immunity to mood. What does this have to do with cheese? A surprising amount. Most people assume cheese is just a tasty treat, but for older adults it can either support healthy aging or work quietly against it. The difference lies in the quality of the cheese. Certain aged cheeses, like Gouda or Gruyere, are rich in vitamin K2, a powerful nutrient many people have never heard of. K2 acts like a traffic cop for calcium. It directs calcium into your bones, where it's needed, and keeps it out of your arteries, where it can cause dangerous plaque buildup. Studies have linked low levels of K2 to conditions like osteoporosis and arterial calcification. But that's just the beginning. As cheese ages, its proteins break down into smaller peptides, making it easier to digest, especially for older adults with weaker stomach acid. Many aged cheeses also contain beneficial bacteria that support gut health and reduce inflammation, which is linked to almost every chronic disease in aging. Not all cheeses are equal, though. Some are packed with inflammatory fats and excessive sodium, which can strain your heart and kidneys. That's why knowing which cheeses to choose becomes critical. In short, cheese can be medicine or a hidden threat, depending on what kind you eat. In this video, we'll help you make the smart choice. Part 2. Top 4 cheeses you should eat daily. When I turned 60, I never thought cheese would become one of the most powerful tools in my healthy aging toolbox. But as I started digging deeper into nutrition for seniors, I realized not all cheeses are created equal. In fact, some cheeses are practically medicine in disguise, packed with nutrients that protect your heart, strengthen your bones, and support your gut and brain. Let's start with aged Gouda. I had no idea this nutty, firm cheese, when aged for at least 18 months, contains vitamin K2, which helps move calcium into bones and away from arteries. That's crucial for preventing osteoporosis and heart disease. I swapped my usual morning yogurt with a slice of aged Gouda and apple. 3 months later, my bone scan showed improvement, and even my joint stiffness had eased. My father, recovering from hip surgery, added aged Gouda to his lunch. His appetite returned, and he began healing faster. Then there's authentic Parmesan Reggiano, aged over 30 months. Don't confuse it with the powder in the green can. Real Parm is a digestive marvel, rich in calcium, protein, and a natural compound called casomorphines that helps calm the nervous system. My grandmother began having a small chunk after dinner with balsamic vinegar and swore it helped her sleep better. Next up, grass-fed raw cheddar. It's rich in CLA, omega-3s, and live probiotics, but only if it's raw and unheated. I combine it with sauerkraut, and my digestion has never been better. A bonus? My mood improved, especially during travel, which used to be stressful on my gut. And finally, Swiss Gruyere made from alpine cow's milk is possibly the best-kept secret. Packed with B12, glutathione precursors, and inflammation-fighting bacteria, it's especially great for seniors. My neighbor in his 70s eats a small slice daily. He still hikes weekly without joint pain. I like to melt it into warm broth or pair it with whole grain toast to boost absorption. Each of these cheeses doesn't just taste good, they fuel a longer, stronger life. But it's not just about what you eat, it's how and why you choose it. And that's what makes all the difference after 60. Part 3. The 4 cheeses to avoid. Let's be honest. Cheese is delicious, comforting, and often nostalgic. But once you're past 60, not all cheeses are your friend. In fact, some of them are quietly harming your gut, your heart, and your brain. And you may not even realize it. Let's talk about the 4 cheeses you should avoid if you care about your long-term health, and why I stopped eating them myself. First up, processed cheese slices. You know the kind, individually wrapped, bright orange, perfectly square. I grew up loving grilled cheese sandwiches made with those. But a few years ago, after eating one out of nostalgia, I felt bloated and sluggish for the rest of the day. My nutritionist pointed out that these cheeses are filled with preservatives, emulsifiers, and sodium phosphates that tax your kidneys and contribute to chronic inflammation. What's worse, the calcium and protein in them. Mostly useless because of how heavily they're processed. Next, jarred cheese spreads. These spreads often don't require refrigeration. If that doesn't make you pause, it should. They're loaded with hydrogenated fats, MSG, and even phthalates from plastic packaging. A friend of mine worked in a senior care facility where these spreads were served as snacks. Over time, residents' cholesterol numbers spiked. Once the facility switched to real cheese in moderation, lab results improved noticeably. Third, pre-shredded cheese in bags. I used to buy them for convenience, until I realized they're often coated with anti-caking agents like cellulose, yes, wood pulp. Not toxic, but definitely indigestible. I remember experiencing brain fog and stomach upset after eating pre-shredded cheese on my salads. Once I switched to grating fresh cheese myself, those symptoms vanished. Finally, blue cheese. This one might surprise you. The mold that gives it flavor also produces high levels of tyramine and histamines, compounds that can trigger migraines, high blood pressure, and even inflammation. A close friend, age 66, used to eat blue cheese weekly in salads, until she started experiencing severe headaches. After cutting it out, the migraines stopped. She was shocked to learn about the tyramine connection. Bottom line, these cheeses might taste good, but they're not worth the damage. After 60, every bite matters, so make it count. Part 4. Examples. Let me tell you about Mrs. Linda, a retired teacher from Ohio, now 68. For years, she struggled with weak bones. Her DXA scans kept showing early signs of osteoporosis. She was drinking milk and taking calcium supplements, but her doctor wasn't impressed with the results. Then one day, during a nutrition class at her local senior center, she learned about aged Gouda and Parmesan, both rich in vitamin K2, which helps move calcium into bones, not arteries. She made a simple switch, 1 ounce of aged Gouda with lunch and a few Parmesan shavings after dinner. After 6 months, her repeat scan showed improvement, and her doctor was stunned. Then there's James, a 72-year-old caregiver in Florida. His 90-year-old mother had lost her appetite and mobility, barely eating and mostly bedbound. He realized she was living on processed cheese slices, those plastic-wrapped ones we all grew up with. After reading about their preservatives and lack of nutrition, he replaced them with small portions of raw cheddar and Gruyere, paired with apple slices. Within weeks, she was eating more, smiling, and even walking short distances again. Lastly, Tom, 65, was obsessed with blue cheese. He added it to everything: salads, sandwiches, even eggs. One day, After a severe headache and a spike in blood pressure, his doctor asked him to cut it out. Tom switched to Swiss Gruyere and never looked back. His pressure stabilized and the migraines stopped. These aren't just stories, they're wake-up calls. Part 5. Lessons learned. So what have we learned from this cheesy journey? After age 60, food choices aren't just about taste, they're about strategy. And cheese, believe it or not, can either be your secret weapon for longevity or a silent threat hiding in your fridge. We've seen how 4 smart choices, aged Gouda, real Parmesan, raw grass-fed cheddar, and authentic Swiss Gruyere, can transform a simple snack into a nutritional powerhouse. These aren't just tasty treats. They're rich in vitamin K2 for your bones and arteries, full of probiotics for your gut, and loaded with antioxidants and peptides that protect your heart, brain, and muscles. On the other hand, the wrong cheeses, like those convenient processed slices, cheese spreads, pre-shredded bags, and moldy blue cheeses, can sneak in excessive sodium, harmful chemicals, and gut-disrupting agents. They might seem harmless, but over time, they add up and can worsen inflammation, spike blood pressure, or impair digestion. The real stories we heard, Linda with her bone strength, James helping his mom regain energy, and Tom overcoming his migraines, prove that small changes make a big difference. That's the takeaway here. It's not about giving up cheese, it's about choosing the right ones and enjoying them intentionally. So here's your action plan. Stick with real, aged, block-form cheeses. Pair them with fruits or whole grains for balance. Keep portions around 1 ounce a day. And if you're on medication, talk to your doctor about vitamin K interactions, especially if you're on blood thinners. After 60, every bite counts. Why not make your next bite work for your health, not against it?